Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy mini bite. Technically this is a continuation of the Videopac restoration that I did. However, I don't think it's going to last as long, so let's get cracking. You can see here I've got a pair of controllers and I've got a couple of cartridges. The controllers came with the Videopac. One is missing its knob and you can see it's off center, so I need to see what I can do about that, because it kind of returns to off center mostly. I've got one that's missing its center, and I bought a whole bunch of the Videopac cartridges, supposedly working off of an eBay seller. Let's just say not all eBay sellers are equal, and this particular eBay seller I will avoid like the plague in future. To be honest, I'd rather have a pinky drop off than deal with this person because they are just disgusting. The advert, multiple adverts, said that what you would receive would be in the condition shown or better. Not one of them showed the condition of the metal. These are rusty. Right? I wish I could say it was just these two. I have a box full of them next to me. This is the condition. They are, yeah, not good. Labels are peeling. Yeah, this is not as advertised. The seller refused to respond. I could have sent them back, and I will put my hand up and say, yeah, I would have been fully justified to send them back. However, it's not that easy to get some of these. It's an older system. Prices tend to go a bit silly, but there's no excuse for saying the item received will be in the condition shown or better and not showing how bad the condition is going to be. I went back and checked, and not one of the auctions showed the condition of the metal, and none of them had these labels peeling off. It's absolutely disgusting. I did try going through eBay. They just said, oh, send them back. I threatened the eBay seller to send everything back. They didn't even bother responding. So we're going to look at how we open these, hopefully, and see if there's anything we can do for these cartridges. So let's get cracking. So I'm going to start with this controller. It's missing its cover. It does work. I've checked this one. It's nice and smooth. It works, it's springy, it does exactly as it says on the tin. It could do with a clean. So let's pop it open and just see what it's like on the inside. So it looks to be a very basic design. The button itself is held on with this washer. It's sprung, so what happens is as you force it over, the teeth in the washer grip the plastic. Not going to be the easiest to remove. Hopefully I won't need to. I should be able to clean most of it, and as long as I don't get water down in here, should be fine. So this looks like it should clean up rather nicely. And here we are with the main circuit board, and the strain relief is, yeah, tie a knot in the cable. I suppose it works. Let's see if we can lift this out. It's a tight fit. Okay. The way this is done is this is a ball end which sits in the plastic, which means it can only come out this direction. It's therefore held in with this and ultimately with this, and I'm going to guess that that is exactly the same, yep, spring washer that it was before. Now the question is, does this unscrew? And the answer is no. So again, if I want to remove this and get everything out, I need to break or pry open this washer. It's recessed in a shoulder at the bottom. Now it looks like what they've done is used this plate to push down on these contact points, and therefore we should find there's the fire button or the action button, exactly the same. If I activate it, you'll see it flex in the middle and drop down, and this is just to give it some cushioning from the button. Right, well there's not too much we're going to be able to do in the way of cleanup in here. This one is working. I don't want to damage it taking it apart, so we will do a little bit of cleanup. It looks like somebody has maybe glued this on at some point, so we'll clean that up as well. So let's give it a quick clean and see how everything comes up. So that's come up quite well, but obviously I've taken off the worst of the glue, but the shaft of the joystick is quite rusty. So how do we cure that? So something most households will have will be like Scotch-Brite pads or Brillo pads, or maybe even one of these stainless scouring pads. So I'm going to try and use this just to see if it'll lift off any of the rust. That worked reasonably well. It's nice and smooth. There's no rough points. You're never going to get it 100%, but what I'll probably do is just put a little bit of silicone oil over this. That'll keep it protected and stop it getting any worse. So let's quickly pop this back together. So with that back together, it looks much nicer. The action button is nice, still nice and smooth. But what do we do about this? Well, there is an option available. I went and had a look, and on Thingiverse I was able to find a model for one of these, and this is the replacement. So I 3D printed one. Just drops on and should turn. I guess that's it in the way, and there we are. It's still got some of the bed adhesive I used, so that needs to come off. However, we now have a cover and it's complete. Obviously this one is the better of the two. It was self-centering, the other one wasn't self-centering, and by the looks of the design I'm not sure I'll be able to do much, but let's have a look at it and see what we can do. So here it is. It's missing the knob off the top. This one does have its original cover. So let's pop everything apart and give it a clean. It's definitely not centering as well, but you should hear how grindy that is. Let's see if we can improve that any. And immediately we can see some issues. This is not in the right place at all. The cabling is damaged. You can see it breaking through. It's already through here. That should have been there, and I think somebody's opened this and reseated where it should be. And that's probably a lot less grindy because the cable is not stuck underneath it, which will not have been helping. Whenever they've reassembled, they've got this wrong. This is sitting in completely the wrong place. So let's give it a clean up and see what we can do. So once again, this is nice and smooth. All the rust, or the surface rust at least, has been taken away. I've got new strain relief and everything's kicked over to that corner. I've moved the plastic so now that the felt pad is actually on the button. So let's pop this back together. So now it's much smoother, other than the spring bouncing about. There's no grinding and it's fairly positive. It is still sticking over that side. I don't think there's much I'll be able to do about that. Button feels good. What do I do about this though? Well, funnily enough, again off of Thingiverse, you can 3D print replacements. So these just go on. I printed mine horizontally, which gives you the nice pattern showing up, but it does mean where the support is, you get a bit of a rough spot. However, as a replacement, that's quite nice. I will need to glue it down to make sure it doesn't move about, because let's face it, that's annoying. So let's quickly glue that down. And that'll be this joystick done. And there we go. Hopefully a fully functional controller. So let's pop this one to the side. The cartridges. Yeah. They're not very pretty at all, and that is before we actually have a look inside and see just how bad the circuit boards are. Now, luckily, because these ones have gone, you can actually see there is a screw there, and if I can get this one to lift, there's a screw under there as well. So I'm going to guess we start by removing these screws. And it's lifting apart straight away, which is nice. It's the top handle is catching, and I just need to work out how that operates. Can I get this apart without it breaking? It certainly opens far enough to get in. Yeah, we've got corrosion, which is exactly what I expected to see. I would like to get it all apart because you can see the corrosion there, which will need cleaned off. So we can see this spring, it just kicks round here, and that gives the downward pressure on this. So again, as long as it's not too corroded, we might be able to just pop this off, like so. But we're definitely going to have to clean all this up. This is not good. Not good at all. Well, that takes a bit of force, but it's off, and I've managed to do it without breaking it, so that's always good. So that's both of them dismantled now. Interestingly, the sticker actually does show number 4 and number 10, so you know which is which. That's nice. Both cages are quite badly rusted, so that's all going to have to be cleaned off. The springs as well are going to have to be cleaned. And I've got to be able to get into these, just so I can check everything's fine and then clean up these mini RF shields. I mean, there's RF shields everywhere, that's absolutely ridiculous, but we will get there. So with the casing off, you can see how dirty it is. However, look at the corrosion. All of this is going to have to be cleaned so I can find out just how bad it is. So that is just that one set of tiny little RF shields. Look at the amount of rust, and that's before I start on any of this. This is just disgusting. That a seller would class this as in absolutely good condition. I'm speechless. So let me do some clean up and we'll move on to the next step. So now I've got these cleaned up as much as I can. There are still some areas inside that I just can't get to properly, and the outside could do with a little bit more finishing, and that's where I bring in a little multi-tool with a little steel brush on the end, and all I'm going to do is clean these up. So as you can see, it makes quite a difference. I've taken the entire top surface finish off. There's a good reason for that. Cleaned up all the areas that I can get to where there is rust. However, you can see some inside that the head on that is still too big and just will not fit in. So other than bending this open, bending these flat, because they aren't soldered, I could just bend it open and sort it, but I can't guarantee I'll ever get it back into the right position again. That's about as good as I'm going to get that one. I've still got this one to do. This one is not as bad, not by a long shot, so this one's going to take a lot less time. So I'm quickly going to finish this. That'll be done off camera, and when we come back, we'll look at what I can do with these, because originally they were chrome plated. I don't want just bare steel. I did say I had a trick. Okay, so everything's now been cleaned up. It doesn't need to be perfect, I hope. I've done what I can, I've got into where I can. There are some areas I'm not going to be able to cure. There are products on the market, things like Rust Remedy, which is designed for cars. I just don't have any. What I am going to do is look at the refinishing first. Now, a lot of this is absolutely fine and I don't need to worry about it. In fact, I would destroy the stickers if I got too close. There are a couple of very small areas that I might treat on here, you know, like this edge here, this bit round the edge inside, but for the whole, I'm not worried about these, so I'll pop them to the side. The springs, they're quite thin, they were quite badly rusted, not really nasty rust, but a lot of surface rust, so you can see they are not perfect. So these and these I am going to be doing off camera because of what I'm going to be using. I am not going to be filming here, I'm not going to be setting up through in my kitchen because I'm going to be concentrating on this and not on the filming. What I'm going to use is, this is called blue gel, but it's gun blue, easily available. You can pick it up in a lot of different types. This is a gel. This one in particular is done by Abbey Gun Solutions. No, it's not sponsored. And what this does is cause a chemical reaction on the surface and changes it to the gun blue finish. Now the method, according to this, is clean and degrease the surface. So I'll be spraying these with isopropyl alcohol, wiping them down and allowing the isopropyl to evaporate before I use it. I'll be applying a little bit of the Abbey Blu Gel with a clean cloth, leave it for a few seconds and then rinse off with cold water, and then drying that isopropyl, letting that evaporate, and then doing that 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Each time you do it, the surface finish should get slightly darker and slightly darker and slightly darker. So I'm going to treat these and change the colour, but that'll give it a protective initial coating, and then once I'm happy with that and everything's done, then I'll come back, I'll spray a cloth or a piece of tissue with some silicone gun oil, and then just give it a light wipe over, and that's the final protective layer going on, and that should protect these for quite a while to come. So I'll be back shortly. So that's the gun bluing done. It doesn't look great because, well, that's how it comes out, but it's a protective surface. What I'm going to do first is use some of the silicone on a piece of tissue and just protect these. That'll stop them from rusting any further. It's just some on a tissue and just wipe it over. And I can take the excess off. It'll go slightly glossy, so that's fine. The gun blue coating is quite a durable coating. It's designed to resist scuffs and scratches. The other way of doing this, of course, is you could repaint because it was silver. Originally they were just galvanized, I believe, by the looks of the colour. There was nothing flashy or fancy about it at all. Even with the springs, one spring looks better than the other, and that's simply down to one spring still had some of the chrome on it, so the chrome itself is still protecting. This is simply going in to cover the areas that aren't protected. So, like for example there's still galvanizing on that, which is protecting the surface. It should last for a good long while to come. So with those done, I can now put all these to the side, because the next thing to focus on are going to be these, and yeah, the insides. I'm going to use hot soapy water and give these a good scrub, but let's see if we can get these labels off, because it does appear that these labels are card. There's a couple of possibilities. The first one would be to steam them off. That would be probably the most sensible. And the other possibility would be to use some isopropyl underneath or some water underneath to try and get in between the finish glue and the card and see if it'll soften and come out. However, I'm going to use the old trick of a boiling kettle and hot steam and see if these will come off. If they do, then these damp cloth on top and ironed should force these back flat and repair a lot of the curvature you're seeing, because I mean it's everywhere. Obviously they've been damp, the water's got in, the moisture's got in, it's caused them to lift. So running these under an iron with a damp cloth should force them flat again. So hopefully when we see these next, I'll have 6 pieces, because I'll have the casings and these, and they'll all look a little bit better. Okay, I tried steaming. That didn't work at all. I then tried just soaking these in water, and that didn't work either. What I did do is damage underneath where the glue sits and bunched it up, and that's why I've got this kind of like blister and these creases here. However, what it is doing is as it's drying a little bit flatter. So while it's still damp, I'm going to reassemble. And now everything's clean, and we'll take it from there. Now this particular chip is not very well soldered. I don't know if you can see that clearly. So I'm going to clean all that out and reflow. So that's now all reflowed, but I do have to say I hate these circuit boards. You touch them, the solder heats up so quickly and just bubbles, and when it sets, it's literally the bubbles are popping and it's setting with a hole in it. So I've had to go over a couple of times and reset everything. But it's done now, so let's continue finishing this off. That's both done. Quick cleanup of the edges using Rudolph. So with both of those back together, I'm going to reattach this, and I'm going to use some of the small double-sided tape that I've got. And there we go, we're all done bar testing. Let's go find out if these actually work. I know the joysticks work, so there's no biggie there. And yeah, feels good. But do these work? Let's find out. So here we are at testing. This is a G7000 that I picked up recently, sold on eBay as spares or repairs. I've done nothing to it. It works fine. The gentleman that sold it didn't know if it worked, he didn't have a power supply to test it. It's worked out quite nice, and it just shows that you can, if you look and you're willing to take a risk, get a bargain. It cost me a whole £8.95 and probably about the same shipping, so real bargain. Did not come with a power supply, did not come with joysticks, but really you can't complain. But this is to show that this is working. Oh. So there we go, I've got the joystick that we've looked at, and I may have it in the wrong port. So give me a second while I swap over. So here we go again. Nope. This joystick has a fault. It's certainly not working. This is the one I think that had the damaged outer cable, so I'll maybe need to look at stripping this out fully or replacing that. So let's pop this one to the side and get the joystick we know works. So that one definitely works. What I have now noted is the damage to this cable as well. So we may have a completely scrap cable. I'll need to check that. We'll maybe do that as another video, see about stripping this down to its bare components and look at replacing this cable. In the meantime, let's find out what's happening with these two cartridges. So here we go. What's going to happen? Oh, we have something. I don't know what. Well, it's giving a display, and it's certainly giving the representation of graphics, but I don't know if it's meant to do anything more. Again, it's detecting the cartridge. Okay. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be shooting, or I can speed up and slow down, I can go up and down.
I think I'm meant to be a submarine. But that one's definitely working. And that's, I believe, is it the one I Oh, okay, I've not to shoot those, whatever they are. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to shoot then. Oh, I got a point. Okay. Does that mean the other player is the aircraft trying to get me? Yay, don't know. That certainly works though. Let me go and have a look and see if I've got another number 10, because I think that's a duplicate. And let's see if it does the same as that one. So after a bit of digging, I do. The box isn't in the best condition. But I have another number 10, so let's pop this to the side, pop in this one. Different label, nice and shiny. Right. Again, it registers the cartridge, and we get the same. So it looks like that one is working. I just have no idea what the controls are. So bear with me a second, because I've got the manual. Okay, so it's apparently golf, and if I press one player, unless it's in the wrong controller port. Okay, bear with me a minute while I swap over. Here we go. Okay, so address the ball. Excellent, so I'm really good at this. Well, I got it to do something. Let's check that cartridge. And it looks like it's running. Well, I'm good. A very surreal game. Never played golf like this before. Oh, what a reaction. Don't hit trees. Okay, well, that's the end of this mini bite. We'll maybe do a revisit on that joystick and see what we can do. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next mini bite or the next Retro Crazy. Well, thank you for watching to the end of the video. I hid this after the credits, and every year on the anniversary of the channel launch, I will hopefully be giving something away. If you want the chance to win these, just type in yes please in the comments, and you never know, a random person will be chosen and I'll just mail these out to you. I may see if I've got another one or two that I can add in, so you'll get a lucky dip. Now, the labels aren't fully stuck down. I haven't quite thought of a nice way of doing that. I may use a contact adhesive before these go out, but you've seen they've been reworked. They are working. You'll know because these have the gun-blued connector covers. But again, thank you very much for everybody that's watched, for everybody that continues to watch, and for anybody that's subscribed. A big, big thank you from me. I do this for fun. If it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be doing it, trust me. My hobby, if you want to call it that, costs me a small fortune. I make nothing from YouTube. So this is all just done for the love of retro. So again, thank you very much. And if you want to win these for free, just type yes please in the comments. Thank you for watching. Good luck to whoever wins.